and this is a secret of mine that I'm going to release to every listener here.
My confession is I've
Hi all, and welcome to another episode of the Win and In podcast, episode 35. I am your host, Eric Dauernheim, joined with my co-host, Gabe, and then our guest for today is Tyler Luce. You might also know him as Loose Leaf T on Twitter, or you might even know him as the guy behind Fab Cube. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's a great Monday. A Monday full of a whole new hero. We got as a spoiler today. We'll have to go over. And yeah, this is our first podcast in a while after Nationals. We were just talking about before this that we all got hit with, the sixth. It was a fun event, but it was also a super spreader, and so we all got something.
Yeah.
Oh golly.
But we're all feeling good again. We're all feeling healthy again, so we're back on track. And we got you today to lead us back into it.
Honored to be here.
Sweet.
Awesome. All right. Well, Gabe, how was your weekend? How
Oh golly, weekend was great. Just I worked, so I can't say I did too much Fab stuff. I know we thought about playing on the idea of going to that the Battle Hardened this last weekend because it's not too far from where I live. But as it ended up, we worked away, so I can't complain. Just made money, and that's pretty much it.
All right. Yeah, there was the Portland Battle Hardened. It was a Team 3-0 event for Blitz, and they haven't came out with like the decks that one. Actually, I didn't follow that one too.
It was like
too
on
close,
Twitter. Like I saw
honest.
the decks that won, but I can't recall what the decks that won. I bet Savage Feast.
Do you know who, like, the team that won?
I'll go look.
Is it, like...
I think Savage Feast was really good.
Okay.
Posting about all of it.
Yeah, Savage Feats had it posted. It was.
I got it here too, unless you got it right on you.
See, I have the top two.
Okay,
Can't find
so
top
the
one right
deck, I'm guessing it's the one that won because it's highlighted. I could be completely wrong.
Okay. I mean,
okay, huge congrats to
We'll be
our
the
winners, Dylan, Marco, and Ryan. Portland locals for taking down the event. They were on...
Hey, I do like that the locals
It's
got
awesome.
it. That's always good. Yeah. It feels like Battle Hardened is for the locals.
You hope so. Kano, Dash, and Chain. The rest of the top 8 was another Chain, Bravo, Yoji, and then some familiar faces. So like Michael Fang was on Briar, Brody was on Chain, Lucas was on Dash, and then the other team, we had a Chain, Prism, Advent of Thrones, and another Chain.
Cool.
Yeah, sweet meta.
Yeah. It's fun to do the team events. It's a whole new meta those team events. You expect to see basically the top 3 heroes, and so you'll see like heroes like Prism come out of nowhere because if there's going to be a lot of Kano, Prism's a great counter to that.
No, indeed.
So, yeah. What heroes do you play as, Tyler? Like what would you be your main?
Yeah, so in Blitz, I have played Kano basically for the past 2 years.
Okay.
I have very recently been branching out into Original Arachne and New Prism.
Cool.
So, but yeah, I'm a Kano main in Blitz. And then in CC, I play Katsu for basically probably the past 2 years. And then I've very recently been picking up CC.
Oh, sick.
Okay.
Yeah.
I played CC Kano this last weekend, and I went 0-3. Let's go.
It's about how I do it all of my locals right now. CC Kano.
Yeah, I think it was this guy's first time, and he beat me. I did the Kano thing where I went off too early, and I realized that I didn't have enough resources. Even though I had 2 Aether Wildfires, that doesn't mean you win.
Nope.
That's what I found out.
Brutal.
Oh, man.
Fair enough, man.
But yeah, let's talk about some of the stuff that has happened. One of the big things, as we mentioned earlier, is we got 2 new heroes that came out so far that we know from the set Bright Lights. We'll go over the first one is the new Dash hero. This is given to us by Max Ferocity, a friend of the podcast, and a new Dash.
The art is so cool.
Doing Yeah, the art's very cool. It's a cyber
Mhm.
dash. It looks like.
I have so many questions about the art and the implications with
Honestly,
what's the
yes. Go ahead.
what's the basically the card that printed Data Doll's ability as
BIOS update.
basically as a card BIOS update. Yeah,
Yes,
has
yeah.
the I think same digital
Mhm.
character, and I was like,
It looks like
What is-
it. Yeah,
what
no,
does
for
that
sure.
imply?
No, yeah, especially like it almost looks like they're connected. Yeah, there's a lot going on with that, and I feel like there's more or questions than answers, really.
Totally.
But let's talk about her. We'll just go over her ability real quick, just in case you haven't seen it yet. She 18 life, which is
Mhm.
interesting. Not a 20 life hero. 4 intelligence, so she does have that over Down. You can always look at the top card of your deck at any time, which is kind of cool. And then once per turn, so this is even on your opponent's turn, you may play a mechanologist item with cost 0 or 1 from the top of your deck, as though it's an instant. If you do, it costs 1 more. So a very cool way to put out some items, it seems.
Unbelievably so.
I mean, I'm a Kano main, so if I see any hero that says you can look at the top of your deck and play it, I'm going to play it.
That's a good point. Yeah, she kind of has a little bit of an eye of affinity in her. She's. I think it would be very interesting. It's not a pistol build,
Mm-mm.
I don't think, with her. It wouldn't seem.
I wouldn't think so. No.
Yeah, it seems like, especially with this new hero we're going to be talking about, the next one, it seems like maybe even just going for the Nitro Mechanoid would be the strategy.
I would hope.
But we have so many items coming out, so who knows? All right, Gabe, give us our next one. I know you want to give us our next one.
Max Nitro, is that what the one we're talking about?
That's
oh my
what we're
lord,
talking
yeah,
about.
Max
Yep.
Nitro. I think the art on this one, the hero looks cool, but the colors on the card, I think, is what's really gonna pop.
I knew you were gonna love the art.
I'm telling you,
on
this in a
one.
rainbow foil is gonna look so great. I'll take the rainbow foil every day over cold foil on this.
Oh, that's a good point.
It's gonna be so sick.
It looks so sick. That's a good.
That's
thing.
just my thought. But as we can tell, it is a 4 intellect hero, 20 health. This is a young one, of course. Once per turn action, pay 2, create a hyperdriver token with 2 steam counters on it. Activate this ability only if you boosted this turn. And then another subtext, hyperdrivers you control get crank. So that's kind of sick. And then, I don't know if you saw... Yeah.
Which we know what crank is now.
As it enters the arena, you may remove a steam counter from it. If you do, gain an action point. Is the keyword. Which I don't know if you saw today, right before this one actually got spoiled. Star City Games spoiled what their I guess like a promo card they get when people buy cases from them. That's gonna be a cold foil hyperdriver that pairs with this. The token, yep.
Yeah, the token.
Yeah, hyperdrivers are back. They're back in a big way. They were like kind of making their way back with Dynasty, but now they're very much back. I mean, especially with when we have a hero that makes hyperdrivers.
No, it is really cool. It's great. I think it's a cool mechanic. I always like the cranky driver, that most recent dash build.
It's also, I think it's kind of cool that you could basically you get to pay 1 for an action point and then bank a resource for next turn, which I think is kind of neat. If you have a weird hand of items, you could throw out an attack, boost it, and then just create a hyperdriver to bank some resources for next turn, and then drop an item and end your turn, which I think is kind of neat.
No, that's a very good point. That's real nice. Yeah. I think that was my take on it too. It's like it's perfect. It's a bank for next turn. Yeah, that's exactly right. I hope with both these heroes that we get adult versions. I especially want an adult version with this one for sure, because
it is confirmed that we are getting an adult. We just don't know the name.
Oh, really?
Holding it down.
Let's go.
All right, my man.
Yeah.
There was an article when they revealed Bright Lights. They announced that all 3 characters had adults, and then Josh got in the purple Discord confirmed today that it has.
Nice.
Awesome. Okay, I'm very curious what the adult will look like, because, like you said, Gabe, we got the young. So I'm curious what this adult looks like. Does he throw away the monkey wrench and grab a different item?
He looks like he's like a part of like a Street Rats type of gang. It's like, I don't know if you ever seen Elite Battle Angel. Yeah. He's like those guys that steal the parts. So he might just be like the Dawn, like all grown up. Like he he controls all these kids running around stealing stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Cool.
I'm very curious.
So my question,
I'm also, I guess I'm curious what the new Dash would look like as an adult too. Like maybe it will be the fully. It's just that like you were talking about that BIOS update version. It's just her at that point. Like we don't get 2 dashes in one art. We get just the dash, I guess.
We do have the art for that.
Yeah, we do. I totally forgot about that. It's been so long. Oh yeah.
Good
job.
Because they started with it and then didn't tell us anything.
They didn't tell us
this one. Yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Oh my god, Eric.
So yeah. Good job. See, that's why you're here, Tyler. Yeah, man. It's
we
gotta get into it, Gabe.
We've been sleeping, bro. We gotta
I know, man.
Jeez.
All right. Well, yeah. So that's cool. All right. So yeah, we got her, and okay. So yeah, it was just the blue version of her.
And
all right. Then I'm just excited to see Max Nitro at this point. Then
my question is: so we know what the 3 heroes are. Which one do we think is the most competitively playable? Because I'm not a mechanologist player, so I got no clue if I'm honest.
That's curious.
Hot takes of the hour.
I think the Evos will determine if Teklo Vossen is going to be playable. That's one that I'm a little bit more interested in, but I still think even just regular Dash is playable.
What about you, Tyler? What do you think?
I'm also not a mech player. Teklo Vossen seems really interesting to me because of the instant speed shenanigans, especially with blocking with your temper and then before the chain breaks swapping in to get your equipment still. So that to me reads as a control build, especially with all of the cards that pay off if you have a bunch more Evos. We just saw his new pistol that has if you have 4 Evos, it's a 1 for 3 go again, which is kind of really good rate.
Pretty good. Yeah.
I'm used to paying 1 for 1 with possible go again with Kadachi. So
right.
No, that feels great.
So I think as he could be a cool control build. I don't know enough to evaluate any of the other heroes.
That's fair.
But I'm probably going to be leaning towards Dash Database.
I think my next observation that I saw just from looking at these heroes right here. So with Max, Dash, and the young Teklo, so referring to all the young ones, they're all tokens. But if you look at the adult Teklo Vossen, he's a Majestic, which I thought was quite interesting because in other sets usually they make the adults also the token. So I don't know if that has any implication to anything else.
They have made a lot of Majestic adult
but
heroes.
In supplemental sets, I guess was my thought. Because
a Arachne Huntsman adult is
in the supplemental because that was the one I was introduced in. I mean, when Uprising came out, you could get Phi, Dromai, all those as tokens, even the young Icelander. I just thought it was interesting because that's supplemental.
I wonder if I'm wondering if they're going to be in the expansion slot as Majestics, because so far every expansion card we've seen is a Majestic.
I could believe that. It seemed like with Dusk Till Dawn, it was hard to get the adult versions of Vincent and the Prism. So I actually never opened a Prism, and I opened so many of those damn boxes. And then I know somebody who's never opened a Vincent. So I wonder if it'll be something like that, where it's one of those Majestics, but it's almost like a legendary. I don't think that they're doing a pretty good job at making sure you're not just stuck with a pile of 20 Majestic heroes. So those were the big ones. Those were the ones that came out this last weekend and today even. But we did get some last week that are the non-Dash cards or the non-mechanologist. I can't say Dash anymore. I gotta say mechanologist now. The non-mechanologist cards. I'm just kind of curious. Was there any of them that stuck out to you there, Tyler?
Yeah. Tome of Imperial Flame, I think so far is one of the most bonkers cards that they have.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
One of my best friends is a Dromai main. He's been playing Dromai ever since he started. And we proxied Tome of Imperial Flame and put it in a deck. And we did a deck swap for fun one night. And so he played my Kano deck, I played his Dromai deck. and I think I, from hand with no arsenal, played out a Semeltai, and still arsenaled an Oasis Respite.
Oh, very good. Holy crap.
And you go Ash Positive. It was wild. And I was like, I'm scared of this card.
Yeah, that's insane.
Every other card seems, I think, pretty cool. Not like wildly broken, but like a really cool niche. Like Wax Off is like a ninja player. I'm trying to figure out how do I fit Wax Off in, like especially against go wide builds. I think like Zen State is, in my opinion, like the most broken token of all time.
It's a pretty damn good one.
You just can hardly ever make it. So I think like the ability to make another card with the Zen State is kind of cool. It seems a little hard to get off, and you have to run Wax On, which isn't like the best, but
no, especially like if you plan to run like Rainbow Wax On. Like, fun fact, Wax On's one of like, I think I was told this from a good friend of mine, Ellie. I think Wax On is one of the few cards that has a blocking power of 1. The blue version.
Brutal.
Isn't that interesting? Like, you never would have thought of a card that has a blocking power of 1, but Wax On is one of them. I think there's one other one. I don't remember what it is.
I'm looking at my database, and I think it might actually be the only deck card.
Oh, okay.
Blocks for 1.
Isn't that crazy? Like, it's just so interesting. Like, of course it can block for 3 if under the right conditions, but if it's not, it's a blue pitch block for 1. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a 0 cost, so, turns on Kadashi's.
Yep.
I would feel bad blocking with it.
Yeah, it wouldn't even feel bad. It might as well block for 0 at that point.
Oh, my lord.
Oh, man. Yeah.
What about you, Eric? What cards are you excited for out of these?
I do like Totem Imperial Flame as well for a different reason. I like it for the Emperor. I'm very much into the Emperor. I am waiting for Kano to LL and then the Emperor can play, because it's not playable when Kano's around.
You don't like me blasting you with no AB?
I literally can't do anything. I give it like 1 turn. I'll play like Spell Void stuff, and I'll give it like myself 1 turn, but it's never. No, it's a loss. I like that one, and then as an Icelander player, my time is coming to an end, so I'm glad I get to enjoy one more card before the end. So Contest of Mind.
That card's so cool.
Would you play that as a Kano player?
I don't think so. I am terrible at pitch stacking, and I think the only way to play it is with pitch stacking in Kano, so
yeah.
I would probably not run it. The implications are very funny, like if I pitch stack 3 of these in a row, and then you go down to 1 intelligence or 0 if you're Data Doll.
Holy shit.
Well, I suppose you can only play 2 against Data Doll, but that'd be very funny, but
yeah.
Being able to play it from Arsenal as with Icelander seems much better.
Yeah, I think so. All right, Gabe, what about you? What's your card?
I thought that one was cool. I just like the art, and I like the funny haha, like everyone gets dumber. I thought it'd be fun, like UPF, like make everyone feel like they get the cap.
That says all heroes.
I think the other thought I had, this is just a random thought, I'm not even a warrior player, but the Emboldened Blade, the guy she's attacking looks like he's just like resurrected from the grave, like a necromancer type of thing. So I thought that was just cool looking.
He does look like a bad guy.
So that was my little take.
That one got me in trouble with my local community.
I saw the Discord blow up on that one.
I'm just not big into the card, but everyone else is so big, and that's cool, man. I'm not a warrior player, but I don't get it. But whatever.
Oh man.
Yeah. So those are the spoilers we got. Not much else has happened since then. We've had another Battle Hardened, but that's kind of gone and passed. It's been a while since we've had our last episode, so we won't go too back.
The national event happened,
Yeah.
Briar LL probably. Or definitely.
Definitely, yeah. Briar is LL'd, and then we are... you know what? We are going to get the BNR announcement tomorrow. So we will see. There has been a lot of speculation that Lexi's going to get no ban and instead just like basically this next season will be her last season as she will LL. I could see that. That might just be the case. And we'll see what happens with that. I think that's the biggest question is if something's going to get hit from Lexi or not.
Yeah.
Do you have any theories?
It feels like if they wanted to keep her around, something does need to get hit. And the reason is her win percentage is just so high. It's like on the same level as Starvo, but she's not as busted, so it's weird.
I personally suspect there's probably going to be no hits and they're just going to let her go. If they do ban something, I'm guessing it would be like a suspension of either 3 of a Kind or Endless Arrow.
Yeah.
Just to kind of like tone it down just a little bit. But other than that, like the win percentage, it was interesting. I was talking in Kano chat on the Purple Discord a bit ago, and the numbers look really bad. Like what she won like 18 nationals or something.
Right.
But playing in the meta, like on the local level, it doesn't feel nearly as bad to me as it did in the Starvo era.
Right.
So it's weird. Like someone was like, yeah, if you look at the stats, she should get like nerfed, and I was like, oh, I guess like yeah, that does look pretty bad, but I don't know. I'm having a good time still. Whereas I went to my first pro quest and I just got dunked on by 3 Starvos in a row, and it felt terrible.
Yeah. No. Fun story there. My partner, it was her first pro quest, and I think her first one she played Leviat, obviously wasn't good, didn't do well. The next day we had another one locally, and so we had a theory. It was me and my buddy, and we had a theory. It's like, could we give her a Starvo deck, and could she get top 8? And sure as shit, she did.
Oh my god!
She never played Starvo before that, right? So it's like you learn the morning of, like an hour of teaching, and boom, and that's how busted Starvo is. You can't do that with Lexi. Lexi does require a little bit of work, but
I love Starvo.
Yeah, it's weird. I think that Endless Arrow is a fair thing because it doesn't kill the deck. I hope it's something just like that, where like Azalea is not being played right now, so I don't think you have to worry about hitting Azalea as well. But I was thinking like they could take Codex of Frailty, as that's like kind of a thing that wouldn't kill her, but then that like affects the assassins as well, and you'd hate to see Zuri and Arachne take a hit for Lexi.
Yeah, Arachne doesn't need any more hits.
No, we have a video coming out where I actually made an Arachne deck, a CC Arachne deck with the new equipment, Shriek Razors, and the new card. Because I actually like playing with Arachne. They're actually pretty fun. So
yeah.
All right. Well, let's get into the real reason why we brought you here. The man behind Fab Cube itself. Let me do a little bit of selling, and then you fill in everything I left out.
All right.
Because I love Cube. I came from Magic. I played Cube a lot. MTGO Cube, real life Cube. I like Cube a lot. I've made a few cubes, and so when I first got into this game, I was wondering, is that a thing? Can we do this? And your site was one of the first sites I found. That and FabDB. So that one site is still going. That's yours. Yeah, Fab Cube is this beautiful database. It's still the beta, right? Yep. So it's still getting worked on, but it's this database where you could use it to find any card. It has an advanced search metrics. It goes by so many denominations. You can go even by artist, which is kind of cool because I don't know if the game's big enough yet, but I've seen some artist cubes out there, and I think that would be pretty sick. And yeah, so on top of all of this, so the Fab Cube website's out there. On top of all of this, LSS has finally came out with an article even talking about Cube recently. I don't know. Did you see that article?
I did.
Now, I thought for sure it would have your name on it. And so I'm going to guess that you were too busy at that time, and that's why they had to go with Daniel Rukowski. But yeah,
no, Daniel did a great job with that article.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, credit where credit's due. It was good, especially like I think he nailed down the head. Like now's a great time to even start doing cubes because we got Dust Hill on, which is a great complementary set to Monarch, and like gives you that amount to like make a cube, a themed cube, a light versus shadow cube, and that's really cool. But yeah, I don't know. Dan, I'm sure I missed some things, or I'll let you take over from here.
Yeah. So the running joke is you can't build a cube right now on the Fab Cube, amongst a bunch of my friends and people who are waiting to build cubes. And so the reason for that, I've been around. The site's been around for probably a year and a half now, almost 2 years, which is a little weird to think about. My confession is I've never actually built a cube before.
Oh.
I didn't play Magic. I mean, I did, but like very, very casually in like high school. And I decided I was like, I kind of want to build a Fab Cube. It seems kind of cool. Like the idea of cubes always sounded interesting to me. And being a software developer, I did the foolish thing and was like, well, instead of, just actually sitting down and building a cube, I'll make a website first to build a cube. Before I get to building a cube, and now it's been a year and a half, and I still haven't built a cube. Because I started that, and I was like, well, there's not really any great place to get card data from. I think at the time, like FabDB had a card API, but they didn't really have all of the data that I wanted. And there was not. I knew at the time I used the pitch zone, which I think went away for a bit, and I think is coming back. I've seen some updates come through. But the pitch zone, I think was one of the other. It was FabDB and pitch zone, and neither of them had any of the publicly accessible card data. So I was like, well, it feels a little weird that every software developer needs to keep adding their own card data to their site. So I decided to open source a card data set. And so I have a link on my site is a link to all of the card data as both CSVs and JSON, and I keep that updated pretty regularly. And the February uses that for their card data.
Cool.
And I think FabDB might be using it. I think he's at least he's talked about possibly using it. I don't remember if he's moved on to it yet or not. And a few other, like a bunch of the other sites use it now too. I think Judge Hub uses it now too, which is kind of fun.
That's cool.
So I kind of got distracted for a while updating the data set that everybody was using.
Well, yeah,
I didn't spend enough time on my own site.
You end up you went for a cube and you end up creating this great database.
Yeah, so that's been really nice to see. Like, it's been really fun because the community's like helped out with card entry data. Since spoiler season is a wild time for me because cards are dropping. And on top of that, LSS has been very nice and sent me a few spoilers now. So on top of entering data, I'm prepping my spoiler. So this week is about to be really busy.
Oh yeah.
I guess it feels a little bit like an excuse, but some of the reasons behind why cubes are not yet on the site is I got distracted by maintaining a data set. But I've been working a lot on the cubes recently, and I'm hoping to get it out pretty soon. At least the initial feature out, and keeping up to date with a lot of the cubing that's been going on. Like the OKNY podcast has some really cool, like the Midwinter Cube, which I got a chance to play at Nationals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got to see that.
The bento box format and stuff like that. So
the bento box format is a new one. It's coming up. I like it.
I really like it.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten a chance to play it, but I got to watch a Runeblade bento box made by Mick Lightning, who's a fellow judge.
What was the heroes for that one?
It is, I think, Viserai versus Chain.
Okay, interesting.
And it was a really cool. They did quilt. I watched them do quilt drafting.
Right.
And so it was really fun watching, two Runeblade players fight over which a majestic Runeblade, not, I'm not going to open up this card for you. I don't want you to have, I can't think of any of the cool majestic Runeblades off the top of my head right now.
Right. Yeah.
But that was really cool. And yeah, exactly. And I like the idea of like a smaller, 2-player cube experience. It seems more feasible to get together regularly. I'm lucky enough to have a draft.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm lucky enough to have a draft pod that fires relatively regularly, but even then it's once a month, and so not everybody is lucky enough to have 8 people who they can consistently drag into draft, let alone cube. So I like the idea of the smaller cubes as well as the bigger full set type cubes.
Definitely. Gabe, do you
I got a lot of questions here. I was just gonna wait till there's a nice break. I got a little list in my head running. Okay, so first of all, we're gonna go back just a little, if that's right, but we will get to bento box.
Let's do it.
When you do the card sourcing and you put it on your in the database, what does that necessarily entail? What do you have to do to make that feasible? Or just more in layman terms?
I
just type what the card does and
I type it all into
and then the information. Okay.
I have a CSV up that for a while I was doing it alone, but now Philip from Fabbury has been great and helping out with all the data entry as well. So we have a shared CSV on Google Sheets, and then I'll copy it into the official data set. And it's splitting it out, so you have all the card text, but then also making sure that you have okay, the pitch value is this, you have this. We even keep track of here's a list of keywords that it has, and all of that, so that can help drive all of the database engines. So if I type in a keyword, it knows it just has to look up the keyword and not necessarily look through all of the text.
More sense, got it. And then okay, so bento cube is a question, and then what other the other cube you guys are northern winter? Well, I was asking what that midwinter.
Yeah.
What are those?
It's a themed cube.
But I guess what's the theme? I was assuming Tales of Ari or something, but just because it said winter.
Yeah. It is elemental based. I did not see. I didn't see the full cube. I just watched. They actually had it at the Battle Hard in LA, and Peter Budenstick was playing it, and I was seeing what he was drafting. And he was drafting full on Icelander. I think someone else was drafting Kano. Someone else was drafting Lexi.
Oh, that's cool.
I believe so. Yeah. So, but I don't know. What do you remember from it?
Yeah, it's Lexi, Azalea, Kano, and Icelander. So you have it's a interesting kind of U shape where you have the 2 ice heroes, and then you have the ranger and the wizard. And it's really fun. I got to draft and play one game that I had to run to an event that I had scheduled already on the Sunday of Vegas, because Sunday was my one day off. And so I drafted Kano, and it is a high power cube. I felt like I drafted a full blitz deck. I had Sonic Boom, I had Blessing of Aether, Blessing of Aether, I had Blazing Aether, Chain Lightning. It was a Ragamuffin's Hat. They have some legendaries in the cube, so you can draft Tunic, you can draft Skullbone Crosswrap, New Horizon. It felt very weird passing an Art of War in a draft. So it was really cool.
That is super cool.
No
if
pun
you think
intended.
about it, it actually works out really perfectly. I mean, there's a reason why Kano and Azalea came out in the same set and a draftable set. It's because they both work with the top of their deck. So they both work great with opting. And so, it's a great cube because every hero synergizes, and you can have commons that can work with multitude of heroes. I think that's what makes it a really good cube.
No, I think that sounds awesome. All right, now to what was it called? Bento? Is that what you said?
Bento box, kind of like the old the Chinese takeouts.
Oh, yeah, I know those little boxes.
Yeah.
So,
go for it.
It's a mini cube that is meant for 2 people. So you're meant to do any of the alternative drafts. I've been trying to explore more of those kind of drafts because I'm just so used to just the normal 8-person draft. But you have stuff like you can quilt draft. There's a bunch of other names for all the different drafts that I don't remember.
Pancake draft.
A lot of
another
variants.
One.
Yeah, like a lot of like a mix of some like that are face up and some that are like in terms of like I see what you're picking and I can like so we know what each other are picking, and then some that I think are more.
I think I know what we're talking about. I've done that Magic before, like the 2-player drafts like that.
Yeah,
I see.
Yeah, so it's like a smaller. I think they're like 80, 90 cards if I remember. So it's a lot more feasible if you're to put together both cost wise and wise. Like as I've been working on the cube features, I'm trying to come up with ideas on what cubes I want to make. I'm like, I don't even know where to start.
I got another question then. I don't know if this is relevant here. I think it would be. So like on the Arsenal podcast, like Brendan Patrick, he always talks about Knoker. Have you heard of Knoker? Like, does that fall into like kind of a cube like that then, or where would that land?
It sounds kind of like, cube-like. It sounds like they play with a normal deck, but I think you could very easily translate it into a cube.
Totally. All right.
Yeah, it's
also Knoker sounds really cool.
I've heard about it. I'm like, that sounds so fun.
Yeah, as long as you can draft it, I think then it's cube related. And now with this whole new set coming out, with Bright Lights coming out, like the possibilities to make a full on class cube is there. It's coming to be where we have enough cards for that. So I'm excited. I cannot wait to start making cubes. It's especially the bento one. I played the ninja version where it's just the 2-man cube bento ninja version, and that one was a ton of fun. So I think we need more cube talk in the Flesh and Blood. I'm glad we got that one article. It's really good. You should definitely go check it out if you haven't read it yet. But it's very, very good. Now I'm going to admit something here. I have used your site before, but for a non-cube related thing. And this is a secret of mine that I'm going to release to every listener here. All right? If you're going to go to a calling or nationals or a world's event and you are seeing that there's an artist there, this is the perfect website for that. Because all you have to do is go to advanced search, click that artist, and then you see all the cards that artist has done. And you're like, oh, cool, I have this card and go get it signed. Instead of like, just going to like, I don't know, the database makes perfect sense why like that has been the prime focus, because it is a really, really good database. And I'm glad it's like, that's awesome that you open source it. But there's so many uses for it. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's sweet.
That's really cool. I never even thought about using it that way. I'm really glad that someone used it like that.
It works perfectly. It makes it so much easier. It's like, so yeah, when I was like seeing Steve Argyle, I was like, all right, well, I see that he does Viscerai, but like, what else does he do? And then boom, he's done. See all the cards right in front of me. And then let's see. I think the other thing I wanted to talk about. Oh yeah, this is on a personal note, which is not even possible, but I'm just gonna put it out there because I do some artwork with like the t-shirt stuff. And I'm always like looking for like different like poses and different that each hero does, but like there's no search engine for that. It's like
the old Magic decks, like Commander deck just of chairs.
Yeah. I love those. That's what I want.
Like a feet one.
I want every single Arachne card that he's in or that they're in. Yeah, I want that. But yeah, this
the Easter egg format. Oh my god, I love those. Yeah, I think we need to implement.
Add a tag for characters who appear in this card.
Yes, or are mentioned in the flavor text.
You can search. You can search flavor text.
You can search flavor text on yours. That's right. Which is pretty cool.
But yeah,
I wish they did more flavor text.
Same. I occasionally dabble back into Magic, and that is like one of the very few things I miss from Magic is how much flavor text they have. And I always wonder why Flesh and Blood doesn't have more. My guess is still they're still a small company. I always forget how small they are.
It's true. It is true.
And so that's my guess. But as one of the things I want to see is they keep growing, I really want more flavor tests.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. You know what? It's not open source, but maybe it will be. Whenever they came out with Valda for the first time, we all knew her from a flavor text. That was the first time. Yeah. And so after Valda came out, I started typing up all the flavor texts of heroes that were mentioned. I'm like, okay, they come back around. I'm gonna be like, boom. I can see this coming. That's Oryx or whatever. That's this guy. But yeah, it's just been Valda. There hasn't been like any other mention.
I think Amira is the big one who people are waiting for.
Amira, there's Jabil as well. That one's mentioned.
What about the trinket lady
that
everyone was hyped on?
Lena Bell?
Was everyone hyped on Bell? I'm still hyped on it.
I don't even know I think there's apparently Bell means something. I think it's like, I don't know. It's got to mean like something with merchants or something because there's like I said, there's Jezebel. Now there's Lena Bell.
Yeah, you have a point. Yeah, because Jezebel is mentioned on Healing Potion, Potion of Ironhide, Potion of Luck, Potion of
Oh wow,
Sin.
she's popular.
That's look, when you do your research, you figure
All right, I just think before I talk.
Now, I never put that together. That the potions, there's two different Bell suffixes to the names. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's interesting. And then but it's also we do get Lena Bell. And you know how I know it? Because I just searched on your Cube thing. On the Free Willy Renegades. I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that was her that said that. So it's like she's talking in pirate talk, but we've seen her. Yeah, it's very interesting. So there's there's some lore that feels like it's in the flavor text, but I don't know. It's hidden, it seems. It seems like it just hasn't been unleashed
We'll get there.
yet. We'll see.
The Unleashed thing is the big thing I've been feeling with. All of the sets feel like there's so much lore hidden in it, but not explicit.
Yeah.
And on one hand, I think that's really cool. On the other hand, sometimes I'm like, I just want them to be explicit about it.
Yeah, I totally get that. Yeah. I want to know more about Benji. Dishonor.
Yeah,
that's another one.
Benji.
Yeah.
Dishonor.
Yeah.
Why is Benji wandering? Where did Katsu go?
What's going on? Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because we see Katsu. We saw Kano get with surgical extraction. That's got to be Kano in that art. Just being whispered and slowly killed by Arachne. It looks like. And what's going on there? I want to know. Is that canon? Is that just a cool little artwork? What is actually going on?
Yeah, I didn't even. If that's not Kano, that's definitely at least some Volcor, Volkai, or Drakai.
Yeah, Drakai.
Yeah. I think.
Yeah.
Or even the nourishing emptiness. If you look in the back.
Oh yeah, that one's
there's
cool.
all of the hero deaths.
Yeah, that one's really cool.
I'm always impressed at how well they seed all of Valda coming in and all of these different things that they introduce years later. That's always the fun part for me.
Yeah, well, it was one thing we talked about from the get-go with what was it? What was that card called? BIOS update. We saw that, and boom, came in fruit. So yeah, we got to keep eye on these cards, and you got a good database to do so.
Thank you.
Yeah, we can type in words and keep our eye on them, seeing if we can see them in the future. I'm very curious. I was hoping we'd get a merchant. I was really hoping it was going to be a merchant, but that's okay. We'll get. It doesn't make sense. It should be a mech, obviously, but.
I mean, they need to get their items from somebody. That's all I'm going to say.
That's true. That's a lot of items. That's true. That is a good point. That is a very good point. But yeah, I think that's about
so
it. You do a lot of different stuff though, Tyler. What?
Yeah.
Share to the listeners here. You have a
your website says a lot.
Yeah. I do a lot of website stuff. So Fab Cube, I'm a level 2 judge, so I do some judging as well.
Cool.
So
is that what you're doing at Nationals?
Yeah, I was judging at Nationals. I was doing the side events Friday and.
Okay, I was like, man, I know I've seen your face before. I was doing like all the side events that day, so I was like, it's like, man, I've seen him, but where?
Yeah, I was helping run some side
Totally.
events on Friday.
That clicks.
So I'll travel around occasionally, usually mostly to the Midwest events because I'm in the Midwest. But and then working on my website, the data set, trying to get cubes out finally.
So like,
yeah. Well, I'll be excited. I'll be hella excited once that's finally done. And then, all right, once that's done, that's got to be it, right? You could probably drop the beta after that, right?
Well, once the initial thing's done, I can drop the beta. I think I still have a lot of work to do though, because there's going to be a lot of improvements that once people start using it and have feedback.
True. Yep. Love the feedback. And you said you got a spoiler coming out this weekend?
I do.
All right.
I don't know what it is yet. They emailed me and said, I've been invited, but I don't think I'm on Sunday, so I don't think the Sunday people have gotten their emails yet.
Dude, we got, so we're on Friday, and we got ours yesterday.
Yeah, last night at like 10 or something.
Okay.
Yeah, but like, holy crap. It's like okay, we're going to do a video for it, but we thought about just doing a Twitter post.
We're like, how do we find the time to coordinate and get that all done?
Yeah, it's like an insane turnaround. We
still have like regular work weeks, and we're just like, oh man, what are we gonna do?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty short.
We'll get her done.
Yeah, the past few sets I've done a scavenger hunt alongside.
I saw that.
Philip from Fabry's also done that. And so once I get my card, we'll see what I can. That's fun. But yeah, so I'm excited for spoiler season.
Yeah. Always so grateful.
Even though it's really busy, it's always really fun.
It's so fun.
Cool. It is. Yeah, and I feel you 100% with the busyness. We're cranking out videos like crazy on those days. That's for sure.
The recaps and whatever. Those are fun.
Yeah, the recaps.
Yeah, it's always a great season. Okay. We love it. So,
Tyler, I think there's. Oh, go ahead, Gabe.
Yeah. So back to your. I want to ask a couple questions about your website, not the Fab Cube website, but the Loose Leaf Tea website. I guess when I was referencing website, usually I reference that because that's like the home page to bring me to all the cool things that you've made. So I guess I saw you did some music stuff. I was just gonna ask, like, I was just curious about the music stuff on there because I was in your bio and on the website they had like a solar system thing made up.
Oh. Yeah, I also am a musician, so I do some composing, and I play saxophone and piano. Okay,
sweet. Yeah, I was just wondering what you played, and I thought that was sweet as all get out.
Yeah. It's been pandemic kind of pandemic and getting addicted to Fab kind of took some time away from music, but occasionally I'll write some instrumentals, and I used to play with a band.
Oh, awesome!
So. But yeah, saxophone, piano is
so cool.
Primary stuff.
So cool.
So I didn't even realize that you had checked out my personal website. I have all my music out is on there, and any new music that I post will also go.
Yeah, I think it was on your Twitter or whatever. And I was like, oh, I'll click it, see what it brings, and then I found the Cuban stuff, which I thought was sweet. And so, not to be a stalker, I guess I'm a stalker, but
no, you're good. That's why I put that there. It's one of those things you throw something out and then you're like, no one ever clicks that. So it's kind of cool to hear that someone clicked it.
Yeah. I guess like another question I had about the Fab Cube, does it show you like how many clicks you get on it? Like, is it fairly active that people are trying to like build the cubes? Like that it's like growing in numbers, if that makes sense? If that's something you can talk about. If not, I get it.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
Fair enough.
I don't have it hooked up to Google Analytics for not wanting to give data to Google reasons.
Fair enough.
So I run a self-hosted analytics tool called Fathom. It's like an open source software that you can run and host. So I run that for both my personal website and the Fab Cube. However, I put the word analytics in the URL for it, and so all of the ad blockers immediately block it. So I don't think I get very accurate readings.
Totally fair.
I see.
So I can technically tell you what my analytics tool says I get.
Yeah, it's
but
all
I don't
good.
know if
There's
that's
no worries
accurate
then.
because I know
Yeah,
that.
just seeing if there's like been an uptrend
So
as the game gets larger and card pools get larger.
yeah, at least from looking at the server logs,
Cool.
it seems like there's been an uptick, and especially just on Twitter, people talking about cubes. It felt like this week especially, there's been something in the air with cubes. Like LSS put out that article, which I think Daniel Rukowski said on Discord that they reached out to him, which is kind of cool. So it seems like LSS is thinking about cubes. I think Hayden Dale was talking about cubes on his Twitter, saying like, hey, if I want to make one, where do I start? And I'm like, if only I had my site ready, I could have let it put it out there. But I will say, I guess self-promotion, I run a Discord for the Fab Cube that is grown a little bit, and it's, if you want to talk about cubes, there's some really knowledgeable people, way more knowledgeable about me as established. I've never built a cube, I just run the site. So Mal Zenith, who helped build the Midwinter Cube, is there and loves talking about cubes.
Cool.
A lot of other people. So if you want someplace to talk about cubes, feel free to stop by and
where do we find that Discord at?
and talk about cubes. Yeah, it's there's a link in the about page of my Fab Cube site.
Cool.
Eric's gonna love that.
That on this video. As well. Yeah. No, it's good. I love cubes. So, in fact, there has been. I don't have it in this room. The Magic had like an old product where it was like an actual cube that opens up and you can put your cube in there, and it was really cool, and you can actually store up to 3 cubes in there. So it's cube. Anyways, I really, really liked it. So much so that I was like, man, what if we did that for Flesh and Blood? And I think it's starting to get to that point where it's more and more viable. So I've already looked at the patent for it. It's expiring. So once that's expired, I'm getting in on that. And that's gonna be another little Flesh and Baubles product. But yeah, I think it'd be cool. I think it'd be so much fun.
I would love to see that. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, I'll make sure if you put down. All right, this is a little deal. I'll have it where it'll say Fab Cube on the each corner. How about that? And then what you need to do on your website is have a search feature that says SNEEP.
And just tag it. If you type that in, it'll throw all the spoilers you've done. Yeah.
Oh shit! No, that's good. That's good. I like it.
That's fun.
I think that's about
Do
it.
you
What do you think?
I guess that just brought me to
for it.
another second. In the cube, I don't think I've seen it, but it could be there. I'm just blind. Is there a place to click who spoiled what cards? Is that a little search thing you can do?
Fabry has that.
Oh, okay.
Fabry has it. Philip is on top of all that stuff.
Nice. I don't dig deep.
And I'm to be honest, very perfectly content to let him do all that.
I think it's cool that you guys work together. I think that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's been really nice. Philip is a great guy and really great to work with. Having him help out with all of the data set stuff has been great and makes spoiler season less of a nightmare.
I bet. Especially since you typed that in yourself. If it wasn't it'd be all you at that point.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for good old
and with how big Fabry has gotten, it's the cool thing about open source stuff is, I did a lot of the upfront work on the data set stuff, and then Philip used the data set, made his website, which is, I'm always astonished how fast he works and how much stuff he has on the Fabry.
It's true.
And then it deservedly blew up, and then all of the people who use his site started asking him how can we help with data, and then he pointed them to the data set, and now we have that open, that Google sheet for people, because my data set's kind of a nightmare sometimes if you're not used to working in it. And so we have the Google Sheet, and a lot of the community on his Discord has been helping, like, put data in and relieving, some of our work, which has been really kind of them. So it's been a cool, like, you open source, and then all of a sudden everybody's helping out. And
That's awesome.
And I've had some days where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to type like 50 cards, and then I wake up and they're all in the sheet, and I just have to copy paste.
Hell yeah!
And I was like, oh, this is really nice.
Cool. Hell yeah.
So yeah, it's been really good.
How early, like, do you look to have it out? Like, do you wait until the set is fully out and then you update the site, or is it like as soon as it comes out the card?
As soon as possible, which is maybe not the expectation I should set. But during original spoiler season before my data set, I was always like, oh, I want to search cards, and so it's like a personal thing where I'm like, well, I want to look up the cards, so I'm just going to put it in my site, and so yeah, I like to have it out if I'm home, within a couple hours. If I'm not home, when I get home.
Right.
So.
Nice. That's awesome.
All right. Well, good shit. All right. Any other questions, Gabe? You were full of them today.
Man,
you did your research,
keep
man.
coming out of me, man. I don't know.
You did good.
No, because that's just gonna be a big project for the Fab Cube. Even like you said, once it's running fully and people are just asking for other things to change. Any other like little hidden gem things that you have in the mind that you would ever want to work on, since you do the programming and whatnot, like not cube related?
Yeah, I made a video game during the pandemic.
Okay.
And I got it into like alpha,
man.
and then thank you. I got into like alpha, and then got distracted by the Fab Cube. So once I have the Fab Cube up and running, I'd like to start splitting some time again on getting that. I have my band never finished our album. I'd like to go back and finish that.
Okay, so a lot of good
catching
things.
up on a lot of projects.
That's
a lot of good
fun.
projects that kind of got delayed.
Great. Nice. I love that.
And did you pick up the saxophone to be a sex machine?
Oh.
Because that's one of the sexiest instruments out there.
It is pretty enticing.
I originally wanted to play the flute.
Okay, that's not the sexiest out there.
It's a very beautiful instrument, but no, saxophone is cooler. I couldn't make a noise out of like any instrument but the saxophone.
Okay, gotcha. Hell yeah.
So like, it was like 4th grade. They like sit you down and try all these instruments, and I couldn't do any of it, but I got the saxophone to make a noise, and they're like, all right, you're a saxophonist. So, but it worked out. I love the saxophone, so I'm glad it worked out that way, but it's not as cool as anyone thinks it sounds.
Cool. Good shit. All right. Well, Tyler, thanks for being on, man. Yeah. I'm so happy that we got you. Like I said, I've been excited for it, so can't wait for it to come out. Thank you, Gabe. We're back in it. We're chugging away again. And thank you for the listeners. Thank you guys out there. We are going to get back on our week-to-week schedule now. So we're hoping to have, let's see who's our next one. Oh, yeah. Talk to people at the Fab Rec. So hopefully we'll have someone over there next week. But until then, thanks, guys, for listening. Thank you guys for joining, and we'll catch you on the next one. Until then, keep on fabbing.